Okay, get this. How can one single pill solve two problems that seem like they're from completely different worlds? We're talking about the physical pressure inside your arteries and the psychological terror inside your dreams. It sounds impossible, right? Well, today, we're diving into the pretty amazing story of a drug called Prazosin. It's a medication that somehow bridges the gap between these two very different human experiences. So how does it do it? Let's break it down.
All right, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by looking at the two very different problems Prazosin takes on. Then, we'll introduce the drug itself. And after that, we get to the really cool part, how it actually works. Then we'll cover its real-world use, and we'll wrap it all up with the big takeaway.
So let's start with our central mystery. What on earth could high blood pressure and the nightmares that often come with post-traumatic stress disorder possibly have in common?
I mean, on the surface, it makes zero sense, right? One is a physical cardiovascular thing. You could almost think of it like a plumbing problem in your body. The other is this deeply psychological, neurological event that happens when you're asleep. How could one medication possibly touch both? Well, the answer is hidden in our body's own wiring. Okay, so just to make sure we're all on the same page, let's quickly nail down what we're talking about. High blood pressure, or hypertension, is just that, a constant, way too high force of blood pushing against your artery walls. And PTSD-related nightmares, these aren't just your average bad dreams. We're talking about severe, recurring events that can make sleep itself a terrifying experience. So two very distinct problems, but, as we'll see, one surprising solution.
And that brings us to the star of our show, Prazosin. This is the key that's going to unlock the connection between our two seemingly unrelated problems.
So if you look it up, Prazosin is what's known as an alpha blocker. Now that sounds super technical, I know, but the name itself gives us a huge clue about what it does. It blocks something. The real question is, what is it blocking, and why on earth does that matter so much?
And that gets us right to the heart of it. How does this drug actually work its magic? We are going to unpack the science behind that term alpha blocker, but we're going to do it with a really simple analogy.
Yeah, that's right. Forget all the complex biology for just a second. I want you to picture a really popular nightclub. In this case, the club is a cell in your body, and the bouncer standing guard at the door, that's Prazosin.
Okay, so here's how it plays out. Your body makes adrenaline. That's our famous fight-or-flight chemical. Adrenaline is trying to get into the club, your cell, to deliver a message. That message is basically, tense up, get ready for action. It tries to do this by docking with a receptor, which is basically the keyhole on the club's door. But Prazosin, our bouncer, is already there. It parks itself right in that keyhole, completely blocking it. So now adrenaline can't get its message through. The end result? The cell never gets that signal to tense up.
And boom, this is where it all clicks into place and our mystery gets solved. When Prazosin acts as a bouncer for the cells in your blood vessels, those vessels don't get the signal to squeeze tight. They stay relaxed, and that lowers your blood pressure. Simple as that. Meanwhile, up in the brain, it does the exact same thing. It blocks adrenaline from hitting those brain receptors that are tied to fear and arousal. This stops the brain from kicking into that fight or flight panic mode during sleep. The result? Calmer sleep and way less intense nightmares. It's the same bouncer, just working at two different clubs in the body.
Okay, so we know how it works in theory. Now let's talk about what this looks like in the real world. Because like any powerful medication, there are incredible benefits, and there are also some trade-offs.
And the need for drugs like this is just huge. For high blood pressure alone, you're looking at a condition that affects roughly 1 out of every 3 adults. Think about that. That's a massive number of people, which really puts into perspective just how important these treatments are.
So this gives us a really balanced look. The main uses are exactly what we've been talking about, high blood pressure and those PTSD nightmares. You can also see it's used for something called BPH in men, where it helps relax muscles to make urination easier. But look at the other side. Because it's lowering blood pressure and blocking that get-up-and-go adrenaline signal, the common side effects make perfect sense, right? You might feel a little dizzy or lightheaded, maybe drowsy, or just kind of low on energy.
All right, so let's zoom out and put this all together. Why is the story of this one particular drug so important to understand?
So if you take anything away from this, it's these key points. Prazosin is an alpha blocker. It works by basically putting up a shield against adrenaline's fight or flight signals. This one single action helps relax blood vessels to lower blood pressure, and it helps calm parts of the brain to reduce nightmares. And what's so cool is that the second use for nightmares was actually discovered over time. It's a perfect example of how sometimes the most surprising uses for a drug are found long after it's been developed.
And really, that's the whole point. Our bodies are these incredibly interconnected systems. A single key, like blocking an adrenaline signal, can unlock doors in completely different rooms, from our circulatory system all the way to the complex landscape of our dreams. It's just a powerful reminder of how elegant and complex our own biology really is.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating thought to chew on. The story of Prazosin isn't totally unique, so it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other common medications, maybe things just sitting on pharmacy shelves right now, are holding the secret to treating conditions we're still struggling to figure out? The next huge breakthrough might just be hiding in plain sight.